Hi, welcome to Tarkett. My name is Dave Goff. Today we're going to talk about the proper application and use of the Tarkett 946 Premium Contact Adhesive. Now, if you read the label instructions, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need a drill to mix it up. You're going to need a brush or a roller to apply it. I've got a couple different ones here. We've got some foam brushes or paint brushes or chip brushes. We have some rollers. You have foam type rollers, or you can get a regular painting type roller. We recommend a 3/8 nap paint roller. That usually works the best. Those items can absolutely be used, but I'm going to set them aside because today I'm going to show you a trick on using a basting brush. Okay? It's just your standard everyday basting brush that you might find in your wife's drawer. Now, don't use your wife's basting brush. She's not going to be real happy about that. Go to your local discount store, drugstore, grocery store, and pick up your own. Okay? I'm going to set the drill aside. We'll grab that here in a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to alter this brush a little bit. The bristles are quite flimsy as is. It's used to apply butter to a turkey. We're going to use it to put adhesive on a tread nose, or you would use it to apply our wall base to a non-porous surface. In those types of situations. So again, first thing I'm going to do is modify this a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut some of the bristles off. I'm going to make these a little shorter. That'll make them a little more rigid, make it guide the adhesive onto the parts a little easier. So I'm just going to take my scissors here, and I'm going to cut this down to about 3/4 of an inch. And this isn't really critical, but again, cutting it shorter will make it a little more rigid for you. So let's see here. Almost. There we go. Okay. So that's all I did. Just shorten it up some. It just makes them a little stiffer. I'm going to get all these little blue chips out of my way here. Just brush them on the floor. There we go. Okay. So now we have a nice rigid basting brush. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mix our adhesive up. So this adhesive, and here's a great word for you. This adhesive is thixotropic. Now that doesn't mean that it's prehistoric. It means that it's thick. It means that if you add shear to it, it will loosen up, or it will thin up. Thin up. It will thin out. Okay. It's kind of like a blizzard. Blizzard from Dairy Queen, you know, they say if they turn it upside down and it falls out, you get a free one. Well, if you turn ours upside down and it falls out, all you get's a mess. We don't give you a free one, so don't do that. But it is pretty thick, as is in the container. All you do is take a drill and add some shear to it. Give it a quick mix. You'll see that it loosens up real quick. And there we go. We are ready to apply. I'm going to set this off to the side here, and we'll clean that up later. Actually, if you leave that on your tool and just let it dry, the 946 peels off real easy. I'd rinse that off in some water. It's quite thick on there, but either case. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this to a tread nose to show you what this looks like. Take your basting brush. Another tip here, obviously this is not a stair tread installation video, this is a 946 video. So if you were installing a stair tread, you're going to want to wipe this down with denatured alcohol, which I already did. And you would also be using the 930 caulking compound, which you're not going to see me use today. Again, this is not a stair tread video. So I'm going to start by taking my basting brush, getting some adhesive on it here, and I'm just going to apply it to the face of this nose, or the back of this nose. Yeah, not the face, do it to the back. Okay, and I'm just letting the ridges, the bristles from the basting brush leave the ridges in the adhesive. Now the other thing you'll notice is that I'm going vertically here, and I bring that up because when I do the face of the step, or the riser face where the nose would be, I'm going to go horizontal. Okay? So that's all we're looking for. Again, just let the basting brush leave the ridges. We're going to set that aside, and I'm going to grab this here. So this would be the face of our riser, and I'm just going to, again, I'm going to go the opposite direction. So We'll just brush some on here. And again, I'm just going to let the bristles leave the glue. Okay, that looks about right. That's all we're looking for. All right, so again, I'm going to set this aside. We'll let this one dry for a while. And I'm going to grab some chair rail parts because this can be applied with the foam brush, with a paintbrush, with a roller. It can absolutely be done. You're going to find it a lot easier with this basting brush, but I'm going to show you how to do it with the other implements. So let me find a safe place to set this. Right there on the lid looks good. I'm going to start with the brushes. So I'm going to start with a foam brush. Now, when I was taught to use solvent-based contact adhesive, it was always the thinner the better. You know, one more thing here, guys. 100% coverage on any part that you're applying this to both the part and the surface. Okay, this is contact adhesive, so you do have to use it as such. Anywhere that you didn't have any glue, any adhesive on either part, it wouldn't stick. Okay, so again, I was always taught thinner the better. So that looks about right if you're using a solvent-based. If you use the 946 like a solvent, it's going to fail. So what we're really looking for with the same brush, okay, is just a nice even layer. And I like to add a little bit of texture to it, just to give the two layers something to grab hold of. Kind of the same idea as going the opposite direction with the stair nose by going up and down on the back of the step of the tread and then going horizontal on the face of the riser. When the two go together, they're guaranteed to lay over top of each other. Okay, so let's switch to I'm going to switch to a chip brush or paint brush. Okay, again. Most likely, thinner the better. With the solvent based, that's how it's going to look. What we're really looking for is something a little more like this. Now, you might be telling yourself right now that you don't see a whole lot of difference. Well, once it's dried, you will. And I have a piece that I did a little earlier. I'm going to show you in a minute. So this is with applying it with the different brushes. And you can see the difference in the thickness of the adhesive. I'm going to set that one aside. And then I'm going to grab this one here. And the first thing you'll notice is that I already have a roller sitting here. Prior to starting this, I pre-saturated my roller. If you start with a dry roller, you're just going to continue to pull adhesive off of your part. So I took a little pile of glue, I put it on a piece of material, and I just rolled the roller into the adhesive until it soaked in. Okay, so I'm going to pop off my clean one, and we'll pop on that one. All right, so this is using a roller. I'm going to put some adhesive on here. And I'm going to roll this on. So generally, I go out and look at these jobs when there's issues. Something's gone wrong, okay? And I may have actually saturated this a little too much because that's not too bad. But what I really would much rather see, let's see if we can get this to look right for you here. I'd much rather see you can notice the texture, the stipple, whatever you want to call it. I need something for the two layers to touch. This is a water-based, not a solvent-based. So it does work just a little bit differently. There you go. I think I'm better with that. So applying the adhesive to the entire face of a riser or to a 4-inch wall base, 6-inch wall base on a non-porous surface using this little basting brush, that can be pretty time consuming. So I would definitely prefer to use a roller or a bigger paint brush or a foam brush. We just want to make sure that we get enough adhesive on the parts and on the surface that we're attaching them to. So again, I'm going to set this aside. We'll put it on this rag here. What I want to show you is that if you look at what I applied with the roller that I'm not real happy with, okay, and there was a little bit of adhesive left on my basting brush here, sorry. If you look at it there and then you look at it here, you can see a difference in the quantity of adhesive. Okay. Again, you'll really be able to tell once this dries, which I have done already. I have those set aside. So while we're, put those there. So talking about dry times, we really can't give you a dry time. Dry time is going to depend on the humidity, the temperature, the air movement in your space. It could be anywhere from 10, 20, 30 minutes. Now I will give you another little tip here. This adhesive can absolutely be speed dried. You can use a hair dryer or you could use a heat gun on a low setting. All you want to do is get that warm air to blow across the part across the adhesive, and it'll dry out pretty quick for you. That would be something you would do if you only had a few parts to do and you needed to get done quickly. If you're doing an entire stairwell or you're doing an entire room, you're not going to have any issues in applying the adhesive to your parts, applying it to your wall surface or your step surface, and allowing that to dry while you continue on doing your other work. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the parts that I previously put the adhesive on so you can see those. I'm going to allow the noses to dry out here a little bit so I can show you what that's going to look like so you know when it's ready to go. Hang out for a minute and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. We decided to go ahead and show you this with the heat gun. I have the heat gun on on hot, but I have the vents open, so it's just on a low setting. And I'm just letting the warm air blow across this, the nose here. All I want is for the adhesive to become dry to the touch. Once it's dry to the touch, I'm ready to use it. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's getting pretty close. But I'll tell you what, I'm also starting to sweat. I can feel it running down my face here. So, I'm going to move along. We're going to let that sit just a little bit longer while I show you these other parts that I previously applied the adhesive to. Oh yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all that sweat. All right. So, what we have sitting here in front of us is parts that are very similar to the ones that you watch me apply the adhesive to. What we have is here is the adhesive that I applied with the foam brush. Now, you saw the adhesive on the other parts. It was here too. It's dry now. This is really what we want it to look like. This section here is going to be the section I applied with the paintbrush or the chip brush. Again, the adhesive's there. It's just dried. It's gone. It's just kind of it's not gone. It's just thinned out. It's dried out. Here is what you really want it to look like. Okay? And this is the paint roller. Okay? So not good. That is not going to work. This is what we want it to look like. And it's dry. Dry to the touch, okay? We want dry. Once it's dry, both the part and the surface, you're ready to go. You want to stick this within 45 minutes of reaching the dry to the touch state, okay? You don't want to leave it sit much longer than that. Chances of it getting dirty or something, it could affect the adhesion. So, guys, that's it. Get yourself a basting brush. For your smaller applications, this is going to be the way to go. It's going to save you the aggravation of trying to determine whether or not you've put enough on. It does it for you. If you're going to use the foam brush, the paint rollers, the paint brushes, make sure you put it on correctly. Just watch what I did there. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a great day.